Hi everybody, welcome to my latest video. Before we get into things, let's just take a moment to appreciate this beautiful evening. It's been so nice lately. Larry is loving it. Mikey is probably out there somewhere loving it as well. And it's just gorgeous. But I'm not here to talk about the weather. I'm here to talk about work. And I've got some exciting news. The Toolshed Foundation is on the go again. I'm back at it. It's been tough, but it's been super rewarding. And I'm excited to share all the progress that I've made so far. This has been a project that was started probably 2 years ago, and I'm only getting on with things again now, but I'm gonna start putting a big push on things. So that stuff comes later on in the video. Let's kick things off with the trip to the lake. It was the last hot day of the summer, mid-30s, and I don't think we're gonna see that kind of heat again. So I got together with some friends and their dogs, and we had a picnic and enjoyed a really nice evening by the water. I haven't spent as much time this year at the lake as I would have liked, so that's going to be a priority for next year. But it was a great way to end the summer. We had a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to the changing of the seasons and hoping that the rain will come soon. And then last weekend was Chocalhos, which is a wonderful festival in a village nearby. It's always a great time, so let me leave you with some sights and sounds from that weekend, and then we'll get into the work after that. Good morning everybody from a windy but very beautiful day, and it's a lot cooler than it has been, which is great news because I've got to put on a whole bunch of safety gear to get started on something that's going to be highly experimental and possibly also a little bit scary. So I've got long sleeves on, I've got long trousers on, safety gear is at the ready, and the very first thing that I need to do is fill this wheelbarrow with water. And then we're going to start dumping some lime into it, Calviva, quick lime, and basically when you put this into the water, it has a huge reaction, bubbles around, and turns into beautiful, beautiful lime putty, similar to what I have in here. But as you can see, the quantities are running low. That's all I have left. It's just a tiny bit. And normally, I would be doing this in an oil drum that's quite high and deep, so it contains the splatters. But my oil drum has rusted away to nothing, and so instead of using that, I'm going to experiment with the wheelbarrow. And I am a little bit nervous because it's so shallow, but hopefully it works. So this stuff is no joke. You don't want to be breathing in the particles, and you don't want to get it on you either. It'll burn your skin. And so safety gear is quite important, especially when it starts to spit and bubble once we put it in the water. So normally with the oil drum, I would just put a full bag into the drum with a lot of water already in there. But in this case, because it's a small wheelbarrow, I really have no idea how this is going to react. So I'm going to start with some buckets and just pour a little bit by little bit and see how it goes. There is a chance this could go horribly wrong, but I'm really hoping for the best here. Let's get one extra layer of safety goggle on here, even though it's kind of ridiculous, but it might help a little. Okay, so I have about a half a bag spread across the two buckets. If I can get all of this done in this wheelbarrow, that would be really good, but let's just see how we go. Just do a little bit at a time. See what's happening in here before everything gets too crazy. You don't want to do it in plastic because this is going to get really, really hot, which you'll see very soon. And I have definitely heard of friends melting plastic buckets with lime, which definitely would not be ideal. So I can hear it bubbling away. Looks like it's working. I don't have as much lime in here as I would like, so I might put a little bit more and top it up with a bit more water. And see what that does. Here you go. So that's looking a little bit more bubbly. Let's see if it feels hot yet. It's getting warm. Oh yeah, it's pretty hot down there actually. So I think it's doing its thing. So it looks like it's already turned into putty. Normally it takes a lot longer. I guess because I usually do a 40 kilo bag all at once, and this batch is only maybe around 10 kilos. No, maybe only 5 kilos. So part of me wants to add in some more because scooping it out is kind of annoying, and I'd rather scoop out a lot of it at the same time. So let's stick in bucket number 2 and see what happens. So this is definitely more of the reaction I was expecting, a bit more bubbly, a bit more active and angry. get a bit more water in there, just to top it up. Let it sit for a little while. Stir it around from time to time, and then I'll have my lime. And this has been a lot easier than I was expecting, and a lot less unsafe than I was expecting. And the wheelbarrow does seem like, for at least small batches, it could be the best thing to use going forward. So that's a great discovery. I'm happy I tried it. So the second half of the bag definitely got a bit more lively, and that's just because I put a lot more in at once. So I ended up having more lime and all at the same time right at the beginning as well. So things got a little crazy. Definitely needs more water. And a little bit more stirring as well, just to make sure all the dry stuff is completely mixed. Down at the bottom. And this stuff is actually going to soak the lime into itself. Soak the water into itself, and as it turns into the putty. So I'll probably need to add a little bit more water still as this thing gets more and more mixed in. So it's a little bit finicky to slake lime, although it's a lot easier than I'd first thought. Once you do it a few times in a row, you definitely gain the confidence. And it's totally worth it. It makes working with lime easier. It's much nicer to use than the other stuff you can find in bags, in powder. Actually, I don't need my mask on anymore. Once you finish working with the dusty stuff, you can take the mask off. And hopefully, I can breathe again. That's much better. So, this stuff is wonderful to work with, and it's better if you leave it for a month. So you want to slake it, and then the longer you leave it, the stickier and nicer it gets, apparently. So 1 month is generally the minimum, but often I'll have it sitting around for months and months at a time, and it just gets nicer and nicer and more lovely to work with, and it's one of my favorite materials. It's also a lot cheaper to buy the Calviva in powder form and then slake it yourself than it is to buy it already done in a bucket. So I'm going to stir this around for a little bit more, make sure it's all mixed up, then let it cool down just for a bit before I put it in the buckets over there, since they're made of plastic. And then I've got one more bag of this stuff in powder form to work through. So that should give me quite a bit of lime to last a really long time, and everything will just sit in here until I need to use it. So I now have 3 very full buckets of lime. I'll need to find a lid for that one just so it doesn't evaporate quite as quickly. I've tidied everything up. There was splatter all over the place. I still have to wipe up the tool bench, the workbench, and then it got all over there and everywhere. Everywhere, it's messy stuff. So it's a beautiful day. I think I'll have some lunch, and then I'll get on to the next thing, and I don't know what that's gonna be yet, but hopefully something productive and entertaining. Hi everybody from a new day. It's actually 2 days later from when I did the lime stuff, and that's because that afternoon I decided to get on top of some life admin, including some video editing, and also catching up on loads of comments that I haven't yet got to. So for anyone that was waiting for a reply to a comment, I finally got to those. And just a reminder to everyone out there who watches my channel, I love hearing from people. So if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or anything like that, please leave them below, and I will get to them eventually, and I'll try to be better about being quicker with those. So the weather has been fabulous, the temperature is perfect, and yesterday I put on a massive push of work on things relating to the Toolshed Foundation. And I was really eager just to get on with the work and get loads done, so I mostly had the camera away, and I wasn't talking as I was filming, which lets me get on with way more work. So let's look at the footage from yesterday. I'll describe what I got up to, and then later today, once all that's done, I'm gonna lay a few stones in the foundation, and I'm really, really excited to finally get moving again on this project. The first thing I needed to do was finally bury this pipe that's just been snaking around the back of my tool shed for ages. It's always in the way. Having the pipes exposed to the sun isn't great. It deteriorates the pipes. It means that the first little bit of water that comes out in the summer is super hot and not really great for plants. And just burying it and getting it out of the way was essential for the next step of the foundation, which is starting to build a stem wall for the tool shed and also for a perimeter wall at the back of my property. I'd already put a large pipe underground to span the distance underneath the wall, but it was too short, so I had to swap that out for a longer one, and then I just had a whole lot of digging in my future after that. I wanted to get the pipe buried fully in the ground, so that meant spending a little bit of time replacing some short pipes with something longer, changing some taps around, and that took a little bit of time, but I'm really happy I made the extra effort because it's going to mean the pipe will be fully protected in the future. I hadn't planned on burying the pipe all the way to the water tank. I was going to stop just past the back of the tool shed, but it was a beautiful day and I just got into it. Larry was out there with me enjoying the sunshine, and so was I. It was really hot, but sometimes it's just nice to get stuck into some physical work, switch your brain off, and just get a job fully completed. And I really enjoyed the work, even though it's pretty mindless and very repetitive. But yeah, sometimes that's just what you're in the mood for, and I was really happy to finally get this thing in the ground. Once the pipe was in the ground, it went from being way too long to being just a little bit too short. So I had to do a little bit of work to try to fix that. And then the piece that I was going to use to extend it ended up also being a little bit too short, so I had to cut another piece, but that's okay. I do enjoy outdoor plumbing, and I got the job done eventually. So with the pipes in, the hose connected, and no leaks, I was ready to move on to the next stage. But before I do, I just wanted to let people out there know that the tool shed is a little bit bigger in real life than it seems on camera. So I know it seems small, and I always get a lot of comments saying that, but it fits really well in the space, and I feel like it's going to be the perfect size for what I want to use it for. Once that pesky pipe was buried and out of my way, I was able to turn my attention to the foundation itself. And I gotta say, it was so nice to be able to walk into the polytunnel and find the tools that I needed straight away without having to search around for ages. So I grabbed the hammer and chisel because the first thing I wanted to do was lower the height of the overall foundation just by taking off a stone on one of the corners. Had I left the foundation at that height, it would have just been way more work than I wanted to do, so I decided to lower things just to make life easier. Then once I did that, it was time to focus on finally squaring off the foundation. It's actually quite ridiculous that I didn't do this at the very beginning, but for some reason I started building before I actually marked things out properly. I gotta say, it was pretty tricky getting this done as one person. I had to do a lot of measuring and moving and back and forth, and it was tricky, but I eventually got the job done. In the end, marking out ended up being a fun challenge, and I really wish I would have done it at the very beginning, like a normal person. Once I wrapped up work on the foundation, I was still feeling pretty energetic, and the evening was absolutely gorgeous, so I decided to head down to my middle terrace and give my trees some love and care. I still had lots of shoots to trim off of the olive trees, and I wanted to chop those shoots up into small pieces to use as mulch to go around my almond and my apple tree. So while I was dragging a hose around, giving everything a nice drink, I did that, chopped things up with a tool of joy, and it was a really wonderful way to end my day. The light in the early evening at this time of year is absolutely stunning, and it's just so nice to be able to be outside, working on the land, and it's days like this that make me feel very lucky to live here. So that was yesterday. It was a fabulous day of work. It feels great to just power through a whole bunch of things that I've been meaning to do for ages. And now it's finally time to get on with the stonework again. I've got my steel-toed work shoes on. I've got a massive pile of stones here to choose from. Some more stones over here. And my goal for the rest of the day is to lay out a layer of stones on this back wall. Starting with compressing the stones with my own handy-dandy homemade tamping device. This just compacts the stone base and allows me to build the larger stones on top of it without being directly on the soil. If it was on the soil directly or on uncompacted stones, everything would want to shift around, but in theory, it's called a rubble trench foundation. This should give everything a nice base to build from. So I think I'll just start a section at a time, working from this side to that side. And I am definitely happy that I've decided to lower the foundation overall. It's going to mean a lot less work, and everything's going to be kind of hard to explain until I get going. I've got kind of a weird idea for the Toolshed foundation walls, and the way I'm doing this stem wall is going to look really strange until I get on with those, but I'll try to explain everything in my next video. Right now, I just want to get on with the stonework and feel like I've actually started again working on this foundation. Okay, that'll do. Let's find some stones. So right now I'm just trying to choose some stones with nice flat faces. Some of the stones will be thick enough to span the entire width of the stem wall, and some of them, like this one, will need kind of a double side, and I'll fill in the middle. Yeah, so I've never really done a lot of stem foundation work with stone. I've done a little bit under the guidance of a friend who's a stonemason, but this is definitely experimental, and I'm actually really quite excited about this project. Lift with the knees. Oh. Actually, I don't know why I'm trying to lift stuff when I have this handy thing here. Or I could actually just roll it. Let's try it on this thing. So this is going to be like one big giant puzzle, and I'm not really great at thinking and filming at the same time, so I'm going to put the camera away. So this is what things look like now. It's a whole lot of nothing. But I'm going to be working at this for a couple hours, and when you see me again, hopefully I'll have a nice wall laid out to show you. Okay, I'm back. It's a few hours later. I've had some lunch in between, and I've been working pretty hard at trying to create a nice front face for the outside part along this string line. The inside, I'll deal with later on, but I just wanted to get everything lined up on the outside. So that, you know what? It's really hard to explain. And I must admit, I'm not 100% sure that my idea is gonna work. I'm like 85% sure it's gonna work. So what I'm gonna do is work on a drawing for you guys in time for the next video, where I'll walk through all of the plans for the tool shed and for this entire back area here, or the side area of my house, because I have lots of big ideas. It's gonna be sort of a utility room, tool shed thing, I think, along with hangout space, an outdoor kitchen, and all kinds of stuff, storage. Yeah, who knows what else? I don't actually know myself, but I'm hoping when I sit down to do a drawing, some ideas will come to me. I've also piled up the stones a little bit more, moved stones from the center of the tool shed so I can work more easily, prepared some stones there for when I extend the stem wall across to this part. I've consolidated most of these long stones except for that one because I forgot it, and put them down here, and eventually, if I have enough of them, I'd like to build up another little tower here, similar to those two over there, with another post and a ramp. But I'm getting into too much detail, I think. It's been a long day, and I gotta say, I'm really, really pleased with my effort, even though I will admit that it does look kind of crazy. So I still need to line those stones into place, and I'm gonna build certain sections a little bit higher. I've been lucky that I haven't had to change the shape of any of the stones so far. I was able to find some good stones to use, and as I go higher, I might have to get the hammer and chisel out, or maybe even the grinder, or even the plug-in feathers to split some stones, but I'm hoping I won't, because that stuff is pretty hard work, and I do have a decent amount of stones to choose from. So it's been a lot of hard work in the hot sun, as evidenced by the sadness of Tracy Trumpet, and the sadness of my banana plants as well. So I definitely need to get the hose out, and give everything a nice drink. And I'm gonna give myself a drink of water as well and relax after what's been a very busy but super productive few days. I'm feeling good. I'm excited to be starting again on the Toolshed Foundation. And I know a lot of you guys out there have been waiting for it as well. So it's been a fun video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.